You won't believe what Karoline Leavitt just said about Barack Obama, and she said it live on air. She called him out, not with insults, but with cold, brutal facts. She said he divided the country. She said Obamacare hurt working families. And she even accused him of weaponizing race and class for political gain. And when the media tried to shut her down, she doubled down. She posted the clip. She challenged Obama to debate her live. And now, the whole country is asking. Is Obama's legacy falling apart? It happened live on air. The moment that shocked the nation. You won't believe what just happened, and it wasn't behind closed doors. It was live, in front of millions of viewers, on one of the most watched political talk shows in America. The guest, Karoline Leavitt, young, fierce, and rising fast through the ranks of the Republican Party. The topic, American leadership and the legacy of modern presidents. But what no one expected, was for Karoline to drop a political truth bomb on former President Barack Obama, live, uncensored, and without hesitation. As the host teed up a question about how today's youth view past leaders, Karoline didn't hold back. She leaned into the mic, stared straight into the camera, and said, "It's time someone said it out loud, Barack Obama isn't the hero they've painted him to be. He divided this country more than he united it, and I'm done pretending otherwise." Boom. For a moment, the studio went quiet. You could feel the tension ripple across the broadcast. But Karoline wasn't finished. She continued, her voice steady but charged. "We were raised to believe Obama was a symbol of hope. But for many of us, especially working-class families, his policies made life harder, not better. Look past the speeches, look at the results." Within seconds, clips of her comments were all over social media. The video of her speaking began circulating on X, TikTok, and Instagram with captions like, "Karoline just torched Obama on live TV. Obama's legacy under attack, Gen Z has had enough." The moment was more than a viral soundbite, it was a cultural shift. Why? Because Karoline Leavitt didn't just throw out vague criticism. She was making a calculated, fearless stand against a political icon, someone still adored by millions, someone the media rarely dares to challenge. And people noticed. Conservative commentators hailed her as a voice of a fearless new generation. Liberal commentators, meanwhile, called the attack unjustified, performative, and even disrespectful to history. But Karoline wasn't backing down. Minutes after the interview ended, she posted a tweet. "Obama's image is built on emotion, not truth. I said what needed to be said. And I have the facts to back it up." That tweet alone racked up 2 million views in under an hour. People flooded the comment sections, some furious, others exhilarated. But the message was clear. Karoline Leavitt had just stepped into the national spotlight, and she was coming for one of the most untouchable political figures in America. And as the dust started to settle, one question echoed across the country. What will Obama say now? Stay tuned, because this story is just getting started. Who is Karoline Leavitt, and why now? If you're asking yourself, wait, who is Karoline Leavitt, and how did she get this bold? You're not alone. Because just a few years ago, Karoline Leavitt was barely a blip on the political radar. But today, she's being called the future of the Republican Party. At only 27 years old, Karoline has already accomplished more than many politicians twice her age. Born and raised in a working-class neighborhood in New Hampshire, Karoline's political awakening didn't come from privilege or Ivy League grooming, it came from watching her community struggle, while politicians in Washington made promises that never reached people like her family. "I didn't come from the swamp," she often says. "I come from a town where people work double shifts and still can't afford groceries." Her first big break came when she worked as a spokeswoman in the Trump White House. At just 23, she was standing behind the scenes of power, shaping national messages and holding her own among political veterans. She later ran for Congress in New Hampshire, and while she didn't win that first race, she did something far more valuable: she built a national base of support. Fast forward to today, Karoline is a media powerhouse with a loyal audience, a fierce voice on conservative platforms, and the courage to call out the elite, no matter who they are. Which brings us back to Barack Obama. While most young politicians avoid touching Obama's legacy, either out of fear or political correctness, Karoline ran straight at it. Why? Because, according to her, the truth matters more than popularity. In her post-interview statement, Karoline didn't just criticize Obama's policies. She explained why she chose to speak up now, at this moment in American politics. Young people today are struggling more than ever. Student debt. Sky-high rent. No path to owning a home. And yet, we're still being told to worship the leaders who put us in this mess. I'm not here for that. I'm here to pull back the curtain. And let's be clear, this isn't just personal. It's generational. Karoline represents a new wave of conservatives, bold, media-savvy, unapologetic, and done with playing nice. She speaks directly to Gen Z and younger millennials who feel disillusioned by both parties, and especially betrayed by the leaders they were told to admire. This is why her moment on live TV struck such a nerve. Because it wasn't just Karoline versus Obama. It was an entire generation standing up and saying, "We're not buying the narrative anymore." And whether you agree with her or not, one thing is clear. Karoline Leavitt isn't just asking questions. She's rewriting the political script. The allegations, what Karoline exposed. Now, let's talk about what really shook America to the core, the claims Karoline Leavitt made against Barack Obama. This wasn't just some vague political swipe. It was a laser-focused takedown, backed by sharp rhetoric, detailed points, and a tone that said, "I've done my homework, and I'm not backing down." During the interview, Karoline didn't hesitate. She laid out 3 major allegations against Obama, and each one cut deeper than the last. 1. The healthcare hoax. Karoline started with what she called Obama's biggest betrayal, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. He looked straight into the camera and promised Americans, "If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor." That turned out to be one of the biggest lies in modern political history. She cited stories from small businesses in her home state of New Hampshire who were forced to cut hours, drop coverage, or close altogether due to skyrocketing premiums. Karoline argued that Obama's plan may have helped some, but hurt far more, especially the working middle class he claimed to champion. "What good is a government plan if it destroys your private one and still doesn't make it affordable?" she asked, eyes locked on the camera. The host tried to interrupt, but she kept going. 2. Mass surveillance, and no accountability. Then came claim number 2, and it was darker. Karoline brought up the expansion of government surveillance during the Obama years, citing the now infamous revelations from whistleblowers like Edward Snowden. While Obama preached hope and change, his administration was quietly expanding the tools of mass surveillance on American citizens. Phone calls. Emails. Metadata. All in the name of national security. She pointed to how no major reforms were put in place, and how many of those same surveillance powers remain active, even today. Imagine if Trump had done that. The media would have torn him apart. But Obama? He got a free pass, because he smiled while doing it. That line went viral within hours. 3. Dividing America, one speech at a time. Her final claim hit at the very heart of Obama's image. Unity. Hope. Inspiration. Karoline challenged that legacy directly. People say Obama united the country. But if you actually lived through his presidency, you remember the riots. The race wars. The class division. The anti-police rhetoric. He didn't unify us, he weaponized our differences. She accused Obama of speaking like a healer but governing like a divider. And for many watching, especially younger conservatives, it clicked. Because Karoline wasn't just talking politics. She was telling a different version of history, one that millions felt but were too afraid to say. By the time she was done, the studio was stunned. The audience was divided. And the political world? It was on fire. The fallout, America reacts. When Karoline Leavitt walked off that set, she may have left the studio. But her words? They echoed across the entire country. Within minutes, every corner of the internet lit up. Fox News replayed the clip on repeat. CNN and MSNBC were scrambling to respond. Podcasts, political blogs, and YouTube creators rushed to break down every second of what Karoline had just said about Barack Obama. And on social media? It was absolute chaos. Twitter/X explodes. The hashtag Leavitt exposes Obama hit #1 trending in the US. Millions of people began weighing in, some cheering, some furious, but no one silent. One user wrote, "This is the bravest thing I've seen a young politician do in years. She said what everyone's been thinking but too scared to say." Another fired back. "Disrespectful, dishonest, and desperate. Karoline Leavitt is trying to build her brand by trashing a beloved president." Not impressed. But Karoline wasn't done. As the reaction swirled, she posted a bold follow-up video from her phone, sitting in her car, staring dead into the camera. "To every person out there who's mad because I told the truth, ask yourself this: are you upset because I was wrong, or because I said it out loud?" The clip racked up 5 million views in 6 hours. The media goes to war. Major outlets split down the middle. Right-leaning voices praised Karoline as a political hero. Karoline Leavitt just did more damage to Obama's legacy in 5 minutes than Republicans have done in a decade, said one commentator on Newsmax. Left-leaning media, however, tore into her. CNN's headline the next morning read, "Leavitt's cheap shots, a Gen Z politician's risky war on Obama." But interestingly, not all liberals agreed. Some younger left-leaning voters admitted online that Karoline made them question things they'd never thought about. "I don't agree with her politics," one TikTok user said, "but she made me realize I never really looked at what Obama actually did. I just liked the guy." That comment alone got 250,000 likes. Voices from the right rally. From Tucker Carlson to Donald Trump Jr., conservatives rallied behind Karoline instantly. "This is what courage looks like," Trump Jr. tweeted. "She's doing what the old Republican Guard never had the guts to do." Fox News aired a full panel discussion titled, "Karoline Leavitt vs. the Obama Legacy, Is Gen Z Taking Over the GOP?" And guess what? The younger conservative crowd ate it up. Clips went viral. Podcasts spiked in downloads. Donations to Karoline's PAC surged overnight. The impact, a political earthquake. This wasn't just a moment. It was a shockwave. Karoline had cracked the once untouchable image of Barack Obama, at least among certain voters. And whether people loved her or hated her, everyone was talking about her. And perhaps the most surprising part? Barack Obama had stayed silent. For now. But with pressure mounting, all eyes turned to him. Would he defend his legacy? Obama responds, and Karoline fires back. After 48 hours of silence, speculation was at a boiling point. Everyone was asking the same question. What will Obama say now? The former president is known for his calm demeanor, his poetic delivery, and his ability to not respond to controversy. But this time, he couldn't ignore it. Not when headlines like, "Gen Z politician dismantles Obama's legacy," were circling the globe. Finally, at a private speaking event in Chicago, during what was supposed to be a calm Q&A session, someone in the audience asked the question directly. "President Obama, how do you respond to Karoline Leavitt's recent statements about your presidency dividing the country?" The room tensed. Cameras rolled. Obama chuckled softly, then responded with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Well, everyone's entitled to their opinion, even if it's not based on facts. The crowd laughed. But the moment didn't end there. Obama, carefully but deliberately, went further. It's easy to tear down when you've never had to build anything. And it's easy to speak boldly when you haven't had to make the hard choices. History doesn't get rewritten by talking heads, it's written by time. It was classic Obama, elegant, composed, and slightly dismissive. But Karoline Leavitt? She wasn't going to let that slide. Just hours after the clip surfaced, she posted her response, and it wasn't from a press room. It was raw, direct, and filmed from her living room couch. No filters. No script. Just fire. You say I haven't built anything? I built my campaign from nothing. I built my message without help from the media, the elite, or the establishment. I don't need history books to validate my voice, I'm living what your policies created. She didn't stop there. If I'm wrong, then prove me wrong. Show me how your decisions help the working families you claim to care about. Debate me. Or will you just keep hiding behind applause lines? That single video hit 8 million views in under 24 hours. And then came the ultimate move. Karoline challenged Obama, publicly, to a live debate. Let's stop the speeches and start the conversation. Sit down with me, one-on-one. No moderators. No filters. Just truth. The internet went wild. Some called it disrespectful. Others said it was exactly what politics needed. And as the media scrambled to cover the story, one thing became crystal clear. This was no longer just about two people. It was about two Americas. Two generations. Two visions for the future. Obama represented the past, polished, powerful, and protected. Karoline. She was the outsider. The disruptor. The voice that dared to challenge the untouchable. Whether or not the debate ever happens, one thing is certain. Karoline Leavitt just changed the game, and America is watching.